Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Always Online Multiplayer Gaming Podcast brought to you by mmobomb.com, your home for all things multiplayer related. I'm your host, as always, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. magicman, and this is episode 481. We're doing it live, as always, twitch.tv/mmobomb. We've got chat hanging in, giving us opinions already on some of the topics we're going to hit today. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes, Spotify, whatever, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, turn on the notifications, all that jazz that feeds the algorithm, but most importantly, tell a friend and have them swing by chat and hang out. Joining me today to go over all the fun stuff, it's Quentin Bowers. What's up, Q?
It is way less hot today than it was yesterday.
Yeah, a little heat wave in parts of the U.S. here. Got a little warm in my neck of the woods, but when I saw your thermometer, I was like, yeah, 84 is fine.
Mine's gonna keep yeah, it's in the 80s right now. And I'm perfectly fine with that. But it's gonna go, and then it's gonna be that 96, but really it feels like it's 120 thing. So yeah, we're gonna be back to that.
The first person that tells you, well, at least it's a dry heat, do me a favor and punch him in the throat for me.
This is Mississippi.
Yeah, everything's a wet heat.
It's
I just like, oh, hold on. Also on the line, Troy Blackburn, the Noob Fridge himself. What's up, boss?
Also not in a dry heat.
This is not dry heat territory.
Yeah.
So
I would kill for a dry heat.
She's like talking about it being like 100 degrees and just wet outside and stuff like, and I just see like Q on a rocking chair on a porch, like with a towel in one hand, like in the movies, right? Like in the like Deep South old movies, she's got a towel.
I have a fan right there.
And a Pabst Blue Ribbon in her hand.
Ew! What the hell do you take me for?
Just on her rocking chair. Oh, it's going to be a hot one today.
This is northern Mississippi, so this is a gallon of sweet tea to a gallon of tea to about a cup and a quarter of sugar. The further south you go, the more sugar you add. So by the time you hit New Orleans, it's around 2 cups.
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad here. Although this past weekend I traveled to North Carolina for a Final Fantasy trading card game tournament, and it was hot as hell there in Raleigh. All weekend. And then driving home, I get a text from Demina, my wife, saying that the air conditioner isn't working. The central air isn't working. And I'm like, well, it sucks to be you. Air conditioning in the car is fine. No, I didn't say that.
Tell her to call me when it's fixed.
No, I
I'll
didn't
be
say
home
that.
then.
That's a divorce right there, Mike.
I didn't say that. I actually want to live when I go to sleep in the same house as her. I don't want to wake up dead. I don't know if you can, but so like the fuse was blowing. So we had the repair person out. When was it? Like Sunday. They came out Monday. And they fixed a little piece in the AC unit outside, and we had just put in a new furnace last summer. Brand new furnace, like $5,000, unbelievable, whatever. Sad. And that's a lot of video games. And they said, hey, there might be a short on this board because of this. We're going to have to replace the board. You're covered. Like, you have parts and labor warranty. You'll just pay for a regular service call, and we're all good. But it took 2 days to get it in. So, like, it was 84, 85, which isn't terrible, but is uncomfortable. And the house was like 88, 90, and just trapping all the heat for like 48 hours. Finally, it all got fixed yesterday morning, so we're back in the cool air. Yeah, let us know what the weather's like in your neck of the woods as we slide over and get started with the news. Ninja Panda's in chat. It's wet.
I mean,
you're in England. It's always wet. Like, it's perpetually damp. I don't know. It's like, I don't know what you want. Just rain at the moment. Hey, so let's talk about some. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. New games coming. There's some updates coming to other games, And some of the 59 degrees Fahrenheit and wet. It's fantastic. Tori, I am jealous. I am absolutely jealous. That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I will trade what I've got going on now for perpetually wet. That's fine.
Welcome to the Always Online podcast, your worldwide weather reporting podcast.
Who are we kidding? We never go outside anyway, so it can rain all it wants to.
Exactly. Well, but it does hurt the joints.
Spoken like a true old person.
I'm ancient. I am ancient. I'm like 1,000 years
See,
old.
that just goes right. We're never gonna get this show done today. That just goes exactly with what, like, the whole image I just put of you on the porch. Not only are you drinking your sweet tea, but you're also like, "I'm going to get rain in a week. I can feel it in my knees." Anyway, new games, some of which coming out of nowhere. We've got a One Punch Man game, One Punch Man multiplayer game coming. It's going to be like an action kind of group up with your friends type thing. It's called One Punch Man World. The site is live. It's supposed to go live sometime this year, 2023, on Windows and mobile, so I don't know, maybe temper things a little bit if you're a One Punch Man fan here. Once you see that mobile in there, you're kind of like, no, if you're anything like me.
Yeah.
We'll have cross progression and cross play on lunch. At lunch. Yeah, at lunch there will be at launch there will be cross play and cross progression. You're seeing the trailer on your screen right now. You'll be able to explore Z City, side activities, climbing through rankings and the action adventure stuff. Not so much an MMO RPG or anything like that, Troy, but definitely MMO, more in the aspect of like a social hub with going out and doing like Borderlands activities with a group of 3 or 4 friends type deal, if I'm seeing this right.
Yeah, definitely. That's what it came across in the press release, was there was going to be a central hub, and that's going to be where everybody kind of gathers up and you form your groups. And then when you go out and do things, like you said, sort of Borderlands is where you're in smaller groups of, it looks like, what, 4 or 5? Looks like probably 4 in the trailer. Best I can tell, everything moves so fast, it's hard to tell sometimes. But yeah, being able to group up and go out with your friends, not necessarily an MMORPG, though it does say you can roam the city and do side quests and stuff. So I'm curious to see, can your friends tag along with for that or not?
Q is the one out of the 3 of us that probably dabbles in anime and manga the most. Have you ever, is One Punch Man something that's been on your plate before? Because it's never grabbed me. And it really has to be like a special anime for me to jump in, but it's never been one for me. Any experience with One Punch Man? Because I know it's damn popular.
No, I'm more of a dark anime kind of person.
You like Death
Boogie
Note,
Pop
stuff like that?
Phantom. Yeah, but Boogie Pop Phantom, Death Note, Hellgirl, just stuff like that. Or the really insane stuff like Metropolis or Paprika. Like that. That's more.
Has there ever been in chat, maybe you know of one? Because again, anime is not exactly my forte. I have my favorites, but I know exactly what they are. I don't like sit there and just watch new stuff to see, hey, do I like this? Have we ever had like a really, really good, Troy, anime-based MMO? Like, I know Sword Art Online has many, many games, and but I just don't seem to remember, like, hey, man, that was one that took the IP, and whether it was multiplayer or full-blown MMORPG or MMO, like, damn, they got it right. They usually just turn into, like, these single-player action games or crap mobile games.
Yeah, that's what I was
or
going to say.
fighting games.
Yeah, what
Yeah, or
Tori the
fighting
Chicken
games.
said in chat was they turn into mobile games so often that I pay zero attention to them.
Chat, can you think of one? Yeah, I mean, chat's coming saying the same thing. Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Is there like a good one? Like, I've covered these damn things for a decade plus now, and not one has like ever gone, you know what, they got it right. They like, hell, even Gundam Evolution, right? That's shutting down. They just announced it's shutting down. It'll make it to its 1-year anniversary because of the date they're shutting it down. But from launch to announcement, it didn't even make it a year. And yeah, that one's going away. So, and I know in the first look, Ethos was like pretty keen on it. Like, it was an Overwatch except with Gundam, and Ninja Panda's in chat. I know loves that damn game. He's always playing it. But yeah, going away. It's like they just don't seem to make the transition very well. Anyway, Eternal Return. This is kind of that survival MOBA thing. It's been out forever. Like, it's.
I've actually played this forever ago.
You did the first look.
Is that what I played it for?
Yes.
I knew I had played it before, but I couldn't remember why I had played it.
Yeah, you did the first
That's
look
how
video
long. That's
for
how
it.
long ago it was.
It's finally leaving early access. Effective yesterday. So I remember you kind of digging this one, but having some gripes with it, Troy.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, apparently since the time that we did that, there's been a ton of updates and improvements and a lot more characters to choose from and things like that. So I'm not going to lie, I'm sort of feeling like jumping into it again and seeing what it's all about now.
Yeah, I remember you like walking around a city and stuff like that in that kind of isometric MOBA camera style. And doing quests there. 60 playable characters, 71 major updates since early access began. And during its peak at early access, 50,000 concurrent players. For a game that a lot of you watching may never have heard of. Like, those are some impressive numbers, but it's finally launched. Finally launched? Seems like a long time for an early access.
It's a very long time.
It's the way of things now, though, isn't it? Like early accesses or betas go on forever.
Well, I mean, just to prove my point, Q, do you want to know? Do you know, or let's take a guess. What do you think the release date on its Steam page is?
God, I don't know.
Take a guess.
I don't know, 6 months, a year ago.
Okay, Troy, take a guess.
It's been a long time because, like I said, I knew I had played it, but I couldn't remember even why I had played it.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say March of 21.
October of 2020.
Goodness.
Almost 2 years before it actually hits 1.0. Mostly positive reviews at 46,000. The latest ones have been mixed at about 900. So, because they took solos out, apparently, is like one of the big things pissing recent people off. But we'll see. It says the launch is a little disappointing for some people. Yeah, an eternal beta to justify game issues. Ain't that the truth? Hey Q, 6.45 came out for Final Fantasy this past week. Not a huge patch. We got the Blue Mage stuff. We got the new variant / Criterion dungeon, some more Manderville, some more Hildebrand quests, and Manderville weapon and Splendorous weapon stuff. That's pretty much the meat and potatoes of it. What are your early impressions after a couple of days going through that content?
I only did a day's worth of stuff, and I just knocked out the Manderville stuff and tried like the first. It's a little weird to say the first, but like the first part of the dungeon that Hancock led me to.
Oh, so you just took his random generated default path.
So I take I if it's just me, I always take the whatever their path is because you get double the rewards.
Right.
So I just always do it that way to get the rewards. And I figure at least I'm getting a lot of rewards and eventually I'll get through it. But I was doing that before work because it's too hot to be in the office later in the day. So I was doing it before work and I died on the boss and was like, I don't have time to come back and try this again. But the Manderville stuff was, Manderville.
Yeah, I mean the quest completes in a good way, I think.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil anything for people.
No, because it was funny, of course.
Yeah.
You get a nice little reward for doing it, and then you unlock the Manderville weapons. I haven't been playing much at all, so I don't even have the tomes to go get the next stage of the Manderville weapon.
Are you a Blue Mage person?
Ugh.
I'm gonna take that as a no.
I hate casting jobs or in any game. It's not just Final Fantasy, it's any game. I hate casters altogether. I totally respect healers. They do what they do, and I'm glad they're there for me. But I will tank and I'll DPS. And the rest of that is, for you guys, not magic DPS. But I did do so my blue is level 70 because Justin and I went and did the let's go find a cave and just run around in circles while one of us is on 90 and that thing to
Right.
just get up to
Just
70.
power
So
level the levels.
Right. So at least it's orange on my sheet. Which is the important thing.
I hate this class, but I can't have it not be orange.
And that is the reason why I have casting classes that are, either completely leveled or in the process of being leveled, because I hate this class, but I can't have the numbers not be right.
Boy, that's like a very OCD gaming thing. 100%. It's like me. Like Genshin Impact drove me nuts when I played it because like everything has that damn red notification dot, Troy. It's like,
yes,
I gotta clear those. I gotta get rid of those.
You log on and the first thing is you're like, okay, click here. Oh yeah. Shit. Click.
My daughter was scrolling through her phone, like I think it was yesterday or the day before, and she clicked back to her iPhone's homepage, and there was like 6 icons that had the red notification thing, and they said like 40, 120, 12, and I was just like, oh, get your phone away from me.
That's terrible. Stop.
Get that thing away from me.
Do that?
What are you doing, you monster? You absolute
That's awful.
monster. I really liked Mount Rokon, the variant dungeon. I've done like half the paths through it right now, and the dungeon's gorgeous, and some of the fights
is very
fun.
pretty. And the fights that I got, the first 2 fights, like the just AoEs everywhere. You're just like dodge.
Yeah, Art of the Fluff, like I said on last night's podcast, is one of my favorite abilities ever. I just love the ability. If you haven't seen it, you will. It's one of the variants of the first boss. So yeah, Art of the Fluff, great ability, great, cute doggos. Don't look at him though. Don't look at him. Don't look at him. Hey, we got a new kart game, Troy, and I know you and I are kind of like into, hey, let's get a cool, fun kart game, and Kart Rider Drift just really didn't do it for me. And that one's been in development forever. Yeah, it's out. They're doing a couple new seasons stuff. We've covered it on the site. Head on over to mmobomb.com. That's the one that pays the bills. Read some articles, check out some videos, and of course, go to the games pages, rate your favorite games or your least favorite games so that you can warn people. Go leave reviews on all of the games. This one, called Stampede, is a 60-player battle royale racing game that just looks chaotic as all hell, but maybe a little bit of fun too.
Yeah, it's got to be a good kart racer first, right? Like it's got to be a fun kart racer first. Then you can start throwing 60 people in chaos in there if you want to do whatever. So it just depends on how the karts feel, how it controls, sort of how the bonus abilities and stuff sort of pan out. But I'm interested. A really good free-to-play kart game would absolutely 100% attract my attention.
Yeah, Sumo Leamington, the company behind this one. I don't know how, like, we got the trailer. They're doing a play test starting on the 27th, so next week. And it's just like a 4-day thing that you can go and check it out. But I kind of like look at this queue and I'm like, 60-player battle royale battle karts. This seems like a game I'm going to get very angry at. Like 15 seconds with 60 players running around trying to blow each other up on carts. A good portion of those are just going to be blown up accidentally by stuff in the first like 20 seconds. I feel like I might throw a controller a few times.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one because if there is a way to get me to play a battle royale, this is probably it.
We got her.
But I don't know what my anger level would be at the end of it.
It definitely seems like something I might end up a little angry at, but looks interesting. Finally, and some other things upcoming. Not a lot of new news on this one, but Wayfinder did give a date yesterday, late yesterday. We covered it on the site for their upcoming early access. So if you've been watching Wayfinder by Airship Syndicate and published by Digital Extremes, the team behind Warframe, that is going to be August 15th for the PC and the PlayStation. There's a number of Founders Packs available that get you that early access. I think, actually, Troy, don't like all of them have access, I think.
Yeah, as far as
yeah,
so.
every single one. So it's just a question of goodies, not access, whichever Founders Pack you decide to go with. If you're going to wait, then we don't have the exact launch date, but yeah, this one is going to be free to play when it comes to the actual launch. You only really have to pay if you want to get in on the early access. And Troy, I am eager, like this is still a cautiously looking forward to it game, but I am really eager to see some of those changes, particularly in combat, that they talked about in their last dev blog.
Yeah, the combat changes need to be there this time around. I would imagine they're going to be, or they wouldn't be launching in early access at this point after they talked about them so heavily and made some big-ish promises. They didn't, promise they were reimagining the game or anything, but they were making some pretty major tweaks to the core of how their combat works and the way the animations and stuff work. So I'm interested.
Your favorite was what? Like you
don't
end up accidentally going through your target.
Yeah, like when you're attacking, you just walk past them. just hey, buddy, I'll be back. Give me 2.7 seconds for this animation to stop.
That was the reason I quit playing Terra when it first came out, because I played a Lancer and you would just lance your way right through and you'd just be like, all right, now I have to stop, actively turn around because I can't back up and reposition myself to attack again.
You know who else quit playing Terra? Everybody on PC.
True. I mean, but this was like within...
Too soon?
This was before I even left. What was it, an island or something?
Yeah. Tutorial Island.
I never left Tutorial Island.
You never left Tutorial Island in Terra?
Nope. No, because it pissed me off so bad. I was like, I'm just not doing this.
Wait a minute. Don't let Mike give you shit about nothing like that, Mr. Can't get out of the silver wastes.
Hey, all right. We're doing a podcast where the back half of it's just Q and I. All right. I have characters outside there. It's just my max level freebie boosts from Guild Wars. Those ones, they're still... We took one out. We did a stream. We finished a cast and we took a stream. We did a stream where we were like, all right, let's pick one.
Didn't you have to leave it to go do that tower thing or something like that?
Yeah. Always got to do the Nightmare Tower. That was the only thing I had on Jason, but I think he finally beat it last season.
So you just did that to rub it in Jason's face.
Yeah, every year. Every freaking year. Like, it's Halloween. Hey, Jason, watch this Twitter video I just posted. I think he finally beat it last year, though. So now I have nothing on that guy when it comes to Guild Wars 2.
Aww.
Yeah. Speaking of Guild Wars 2, they dropped some relic information. I know a lot of people... Troy, what is the deal with this? A lot of people are, like, concerned about the way the relics and the runes are going to work in Secrets of the Obscure, and not being, like, deep into the game like that. I don't quite understand the concern there.
I think part of the concern is going to be that they're not all going to be, all the passives from the runes aren't going to be present in new relics from the beginning. They're going to continue to introduce those over time. They're going to have expansion relics that have some of the bonus effects on them, but there's only going to be a handful, like I think they said, was it 40? That sounds like a lot. Whatever the number is, it's not all of them, because they specifically said, yeah, we were going to keep introducing them over time. But overall, you're going to have more freedom in your build because all the stats are going to remain on the runes. And then that bonus ability, that passive bonus ability that triggers, depending on the situation, is going to be moved over to a relic. So you've got more opportunities to mix your stats with your bonus ability.
Well, that totally clears it up for me. Okay. I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Rune Wars, yes. Rune Wars. All right, moving on. Let's talk about some gaming WTF-ery. Q, what the hell? I mean, we got the whole SAG-AFTRA strike, writer strike. Like, we got all that stuff going on. And then we find out a little something going on with some Genshin Impact voice actors. You know, that game that makes literally bajillions of dollars every month. What's going on with the voice actors?
So it's the American voice actors. This is important to note, but at least two of the voice actors, one of them being Paimon,
Oh, you know, the one that talks the most.
the one that talks the most,
The one that actually doesn't shut the fuck up.
was tweeting about not being paid for their work for around 4 months or so. Now the original person who first was talking about it and was being very blatantly, this is Genshin Impact I am talking about. This is the game that I haven't been paid for. He's a background person, like
Gotcha.
you know, so and so's friend or this little NPC over here or whatever. And he, you know, said that he hadn't been paid in 4 months, and I think he was more or less assuming that it was Hoyoverse that was not paying them for whatever reason, withholding it for getting whatever reason a big ass company like Hoyoverse could think of not to pay their actors. And then Paimon's voice actor was tweeting about it and was more just like a very popular game. Instead of just coming out and
but I mean,
saying,
like, you don't reply
everybody
to.
figured it out.
Yeah, you don't reply to those comments knowing that they're originally about Genshin Impact if you're not also jumping on that train.
Well, then, so she wasn't replying to the comments. This was a separate, like her just saying, I haven't been, it wasn't like, oh, I haven't been paid to. It was like two separate streams of
Right.
tweet. But because of the conversation with, you know, the people replying to her tweets, it became pretty clear to everybody that, yeah, it's Genshin. But one of the things that, and eventually she said, well, I don't, you know, it could be, she's not sure if it's the developer or the company that's in between the actual recording studio, because the way it works is, and I'm assuming this is because it's American voice actors, and I'm guessing maybe the Japanese voice actors just go in and record at Hoyoverse or whatever. But she's not sure if it's the game developer that's not paying, or if it's that the people who are actually responsible for giving them their money, the recording studio, that just hadn't been paid. It did come out, or there was an update like a day later where Genshin was basically, or Hoyoverse was basically like, we gave them the money and we've told them to pay them. But the fact still comes in that Genshin Impact voice actors, including Paimon, are not being paid for their work for whatever reason and hadn't been paid in months. And like they're saying, you know, they're like, I can't afford to pay my rent because I'm not being paid for all this work that I'm doing. She did, in response to this, just decide that she just wasn't going to go into work for a few days. So there was that, I guess. Like, I'm not going in until I get paid. But she's also now, you know, too, because video game voice actors just, they don't have the benefit of something like SAG.
Yeah, they're not
people who are
unionized.
exclusively video game voice actors. If you have somebody say like Daniel Day Kim or Will Wheaton, they are protected by SAG when doing video game voice acting. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
But they do have somebody to go in and fight for them, but they don't have anything like that. So it's really just kind of, you know, this mess. And when you have somebody in between that's supposed to give you your pay as well, like, then it becomes an even bigger deal. But, you know, according to Hoyoverse, they paid the studio. The studio is supposed to pay them, and they've told them to pay them. And the only other thing they said is that they were, you know, looking into it, or looking into a better solution, which makes me think maybe they're going to find a different studio to work with.
I think somebody should show them the benefits of direct deposit. That's just all I'm saying. Like, just don't send me a check. Just some guy posted a comment on this piece here on MMOBomb, Troy, that I think bears talking about a little bit here. Just some guy saying, well, I've heard bigger Chinese companies in particular have been looking at AI to help them with their gaming projects, with Tencent and HoYoverse being among those companies. We're still going to see AI play big roles in game development in the future. We're already seeing legal challenge after legal challenge, whether it's art, whether it's likeness, whether it's voice, all kinds of things like that. This could kind of snowball in a pretty bad direction quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like we said, there's no union representation for these voice actors, and to be replaced by AI.
To be fair, by the way, sorry to interrupt you, but that is
Oh, you're good.
a main point in the whole SAG-AFTRA writers' strike is AI.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of one of the big points.
Because Disney, right, was already making background actors sign their likeness over for AI usage.
Yeah.
And that way they would come in, they would record one day there, and then Disney would own their image in forever and be able to just insert them into things, which not only eliminates the actors, but also eliminates the makeup artists, the hairdressers, the caterers, transport, everything that's needed to deal with actors.
Yep.
Well,
Sorry,
that's what Disney's doing with James Earl Jones now. They recorded
he
voice
willingly
lines of him,
signed his voiceover.
Yeah, and his Darth Vader's voice will be AI of James Earl Jones from now on.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have a lot to lose on that train, right? He's got to be up there.
Yeah.
How old is he now? Old as hell.
No. Oh, old. He's
old. 92. Yeah, 92.
Yeah, he's an old man.
He doesn't have much to lose in that battle anymore. And he's like, yeah, just give me that check to hand it to my family. Not a problem. You can have my voice in perpetuity. Bungie won a court settlement in remember they were getting like death threats and stuff from somebody, and they were taking cheaters to court left and right and winning left and right over those. But they also really went after somebody that was like sending threats to the office, threatening to show up, having pizzas delivered and stuff like that, like cash on delivery order. They got a judgment.
Got a spouse's phone number and call.
Yeah, they got him. They got him, Troy.
Congratulations. It's a slow process because this all occurred. What was it, last year in August? I think it was.
Yeah, initially.
Initially, yeah, is when it all occurred, or at least when it was reported. And now here we are in almost August of this year, and at least justice did get served this time around. The courts found the proper judgment. They have banned this guy from not only contacting anybody there, any developers, any employees, but also any streamers, content creators of any type for the game that do work with their company. This person is not allowed to contact any persons whatsoever involved.
And is ordered to pay Bungie $500,000, just shy of $500,000 in legal fees and investigation costs to locate them. Interesting part, summary judgment. They didn't show up.
Surprise, surprise.
You got to go to court. You got to go. Like,
so
hashtag not real legal advice. If you're summoned to court, go.
The thing is I'm pretty sure this is the thought process. I'm not going to show up. They're going to do whatever they're going to do, and I'm just going to ignore that judgment. And now, buddy, there's probably going to be a warrant out for your arrest for not paying that $500,000.
$500,000. Jail, good to see you. Welcome back to the chat. Haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Recommending Relic Hunter Legend to everybody. Relic Hunter's Legend. I've been recommended that game at least a dozen times in chat. We don't stream it or cover it because it's like a co-op thing. It's not really like an MMO or massively multiplayer in any real meaningful way. But yeah, I hear nothing but good things about it. Glad you're enjoying it too. Speaking of going to court, Zenimax is being sued by a former dev alleging transphobia that ended up resulting in them having to resign, effectively being forced to take a resignation for, not like they said, hey, resign or else, but it was a better financial insurance and all that situation to just take the resignation and move on. Leona Farron, who worked on the game between 2018 and 2022, put up a really long video. You can go watch it, accusing the companies, both ZeniMax and Bethesda, of transphobic activity that included withholding her healthcare and ultimately forcing her to resign as a result. She's now suing them. She's accusing a manager of outing her as transgender, the company of effectively locking her out of all of her accounts by using her dead name as the login. When she took, again, her claims, when she took the issue up with the company, they ultimately decided to use her healthcare package as leverage to force her to sign a contract saying she wouldn't sue Bethesda. This included healthcare that she needed to continue for her gender-affirming care. And as things wore on, Farron eventually was offered a resignation and accepted. The suit was filed against ZeniMax. And according to Massively OP, who had a little extra reporting on this, it hasn't been assigned to a court yet, but it's still in the early stages of the legal process. So definitely one we'll be watching to see what happens. I know some people, rallied to ZeniMax's defense saying, hey, there are, bi characters and things like that in their games, and they couldn't possibly. Yeah, sure, they could have. Like, I don't know if they did this. It's just what's being alleged. I wasn't there. I don't know. But to say, hey, because you have a bi character in this game over here, then clearly the company would not have done this type of thing to a minority of any type. No, that's kind of silly. Of course they could have. Of course they could have. Just look at Activision. Isn't Tracer bi or lesbian? Like, I'm not well versed in and I know. Wait, Lifeweaver.
She's
Lifeweaver
sapphic
has
in some way, yes, but I don't.
She's a lesbian. I thought so. And then Lifeweaver is. There was what Lifeweaver is in.
Yeah, there was a whole list of them.
Didn't they make
during
Soldier
Pride Month.
76 gay?
Yeah, they did.
I don't know. Did they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Activision's been a shitty company too. So like, it can happen. It can absolutely happen. Troy, your favorite game? I don't know what to say about this one. Troy hates this game. Ethereal Echoes of Yore, not having the grandest of time lately, right? What's going on here?
Well, they've recently parted ways with their publisher, Freedom
Which
Games.
I think is a really nice way of saying our publisher don't want us anymore.
Judging by the way the game has been received, that would be my guess as well, sir. Mostly negative, both all-time and recent on Steam. Very poorly received game. So they said this is going back to being a passion project, and they're gonna start delivering. They want to, meet the expectations of the players as well as themselves. But there's one developer that's out for an extended period of time for personal reasons. And while that developer is out, they can't push any updates or anything. So this one guy who has had to take time off for personal reasons has brought the whole thing to a screeching halt, apparently. So you can imagine the size of this dev team and the amount of overlap they have between jobs being non-existent.
Yeah. I mean, so if you're... Matt, Dino Fries did the first look on this one, and trust me, it's a really slow first look, and I mean that literally. You walk so slow in this game, and not diagonally, by the way. I never understood this one from moment one, Q. Like, if you want to do as a passion project, or Troy and I are going to make a little game together, we want to make our own RuneScape, that's totally fine. Have fun, God bless you, and if you make a couple of bucks in the process, more power to you. But if you're going to try and launch a big project like this to appeal to fans of those older hardcore perception games, your RuneScapes, your Ultima Onlines, which this is exactly what the audience that they were going for, I think you're kind of already setting yourself up for failure in the respect that those games still exist.
Yeah, I was just, as you were saying that, I was just thinking the thing about these new hardcore old school games is that there's kind of a limited audience for that, right? Because a lot of people, they're like, oh, all of us, we're like, oh, the glory days of gaming, right? When we did this, and this, but none of us want to go back and deal with that. Not
And the only
really.
ones that do are still playing the game that they played back then.
20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like it's already covered. There's only so many people for that, and it's kind of like you said, if it's a passion project and something you just want to do, and hey, it could maybe take off, but that's a lot of luck, and it would have to be something that would literally pull these people away from something that they've been playing.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
it's
since
different to say,
they were
hey, I want to
kids.
make an MMORPG in the vein of EverQuest. Okay, that's very different than Troy and I deciding, you know what? We're gonna go rebuild an EverQuest type game. We want, those people that loved EverQuest. We're gonna give them a home. They have a home. It's called EverQuest. Like they still have that home. You're not talking about the days of spinning up a World of Warcraft Classic server because Classic wasn't a thing. Where, okay, that's the audience we're going to pull. Well, now Classic has its own servers. So, like, you don't see anybody doing that stuff anymore unless they're just trying to bypass the subscription, which, yeah, sure. But this is like creating a game in a genre to compete with games to capture an audience that if they wanted to play those games, they would still be playing RuneScape, Troy. Like, I don't know.
They've got their choice of RuneScapes.
Doesn't mean
they
you
can
can't
play the old school, or they can play the updated one.
It doesn't mean that you can't do it or it's just dumb to do it. You certainly can, hey, I like RuneScape. I'm going to create a competitor to RuneScape. But this just wasn't it. To summarize, remember, gang, this game launched May 1st. Okay. It's July 21st now, by the way. We're talking about months. It launched on May 1st. Shit went downhill so fast that they had to wipe the servers in the first 2 weeks, totally wipe the servers, and relaunch the game on May 12th. 2 weeks. They released a development roadmap on June 1st. Servers were merged on June 15th. And the roadmap was updated. The roadmap was updated again on June 30th. And then while we heard rumors of this last week, this what's going on now, they did confirm it yesterday on their Steam, on their news pages. And it's going free to play for the foreseeable future. And yeah, they still want to update it, but they can't for the foreseeable future. Does this one just like slowly fade into oblivion at this point, Troy? Do you honestly see, even if there's like a very small player base, who cares? If it's not making money, who cares? Like, set all that aside. Do you see a world 6 months from now where Ethereal Echoes of Yore is actually getting an update? A year from now, it's actually getting an update? Or is this just like, it's a passion project, make it free and open it up to everybody and let it sit there?
No, I think it's done for. I think this is probably the last little bit of PR it's going to get until it closes down.
Probably. You're probably right. Hey, let's talk about Activision Blizzard and the FTC before we head on over to the weekly bombs. Things didn't go so hot for the old FTC there.
No, they did not.
They did not. FTC obviously has a suit. We'll talk about that in a second. But what they were seeking recently was an injunction to stop the merger pending the FTC's suit against the Microsoft merger. That was denied. A few days later, the FTC did appeal it. I was honestly surprised they actually appealed it. But they did appeal it, tried to get it in under the wire before the July 18th deadline for the merger. That appeal was also denied. So the companies are free to merge now. The only stumbling blocks are twofold. You still have the CMA in the UK. However, there's been motion on that front too. The CMA originally denied this deal. Microsoft has since started talking to them again about possibly coming to some type of negotiation to work this out. And the appeal, the CMA of the appeal, the Microsoft appeal of the CMA decision has now been paused in the UK. So the Competition Markets Authority, talking to the Competition Appeal Tribunal, like the CAT has agreed to, hey, we'll suspend this They've been shown some information in the background that's substantially confidential in nature about potential things that they might be willing to do, Microsoft might be willing to do. And the CAT has said, okay, we agree. We will suspend your appeal while you and the CMA discuss things. So there has been some motion there on that side of things. Now, the FTC also has its actual suit. They're like full case trying to block this thing, too. The FTC has withdrawn that case. Now, that doesn't mean that it's gone entirely, to be clear. They could, after the companies merge, still bring this suit and try to get them to divest and all that stuff. That would take years, but Microsoft has had to go through those types of hearings before, many decades ago. It also opens the door, I guess, technically. I saw some headlines. They weren't exactly right, but for Microsoft to kind of negotiate with the FTC behind the scenes a little bit and say, hey, don't bring that suit. Here's something. I don't really see, Troy, a reason Microsoft has to. Like, they are in the driver's seat. The FTC got denied. Their appeal got denied. Since then, Microsoft and Sony have entered into a contract for Call of Duty. Like, I wouldn't be negotiating with the FTC at this point.
No, you won. Like you said, they can still bring a suit and try to force you to divest and all that. But as far as the battle right now, you've won. You've walked away as the victor. You've gotten everything you wanted. You're doing the things that you promised you would do. I don't see a lot of reason to negotiate any other sort of recompense along with that.
Along with this, Q, it just happens right at finance time for Activision Blizzard. Blizzard specifically pulls in its first $1 billion net booking quarter. The company is swimming in profits. The deadline for the merger has been extended to October with additional penalties thrown in. Both Microsoft and Activision agreed to an extension to get the deadline pushed away so that they could finish this negotiation with, potential negotiation with the CMA in UK. So that's record profits. The merger's looking good. That's all good, right? I think based on Blizzard's history, it's time for some layoffs, right?
I can think of one person for them to lay off.
Yeah, that ain't happening. He's making shareholders millions.
Mm.
I say that facetiously, but sadly, there have already been layoffs.
True.
The esports division of Blizzard taking a hit, getting laid off. Games doing well, Blizzard doing well. Obviously, Diablo 4 has an awful lot to do with making a $1 billion net bookings quarter. Diablo 4 doing well. But on the Overwatch side of things, while we don't get exact numbers for games from Blizzard anymore, we haven't for a while. They give us that stupid, that monthly average users number, which is flawed in nine different ways. But they did in their report call out two specific things, Troy. Overwatch 2, seeing a drop in player engagement and player investment, aka sales. The company hopes that will rebound when the PvE content is added in the seasonal updates. And the Overwatch League itself has its own set of problems going on, where the company made amendments to the operating agreement between the company and the teams in the league. And if that agreement isn't voted on by the teams and passed at the end of the current season, it's basically a buyout. Like, each of the teams gets $6 million paid to each team, and that's it. And I don't know, what you do as a player here, because honestly, in the financial report, the Overwatch League was less than 1% of the company's consolidated net revenues. I foresee big changes to the Overwatch League at the end of this season. And The Verge is already reporting that people in the esports departments have started to be laid off already.
Yeah, to the point where they don't see where there's some insiders who say that they don't have the infrastructure to really go beyond finishing up this last little thing that they're kind of dealing with. And for anything beyond that, they don't have infrastructure in place to be able to continue to put on a league.
Do you think the league goes away, or do you think it just has some really drastic changes?
I'm thinking right now really drastic changes. It seems, they made Heroes of the Storm go away, but I think that was even, less interest in that than there is in the Overwatch League. So I think there are drastic changes in place.
We also are going to see Overwatch 2 head to Steam and potential other Blizzard titles to follow going to Steam. We don't know the exact titles or when on those ones, but we do know that Overwatch 2 itself will go to Steam and it'll be available there on August 10th. Does that cause you to maybe read the tea leaves a little bit and say Overwatch might not be doing even as good as we thought it is, and we don't think it's doing all that well? But is it maybe even worse than that, or is this just logical, hey, we're merging with Microsoft, we need to start getting in other places besides the Battle.net launcher?
So I think it is a twofold thing. I think one, and I don't even know that it's just necessarily merging with Microsoft, but that's probably like the tick over point on it a bit. But no, but like most people don't want multiple launchers, right? Like we
Right.
really don't. And most people are more on Steam than anything else because it's been there for so long and all of that jazz.
Did you say most people are morons on Steam?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right.
I said there
most people
more
are more on Steam. Okay.
on Steam.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. Anyway, but because there's this built-in set population, Steam is easy. Steam also does things like ties into GeForce Now and all of that jazz. I mean, there are other things that do that as well, but and then you go, oh, well, we're merging with Microsoft. So now is a good time to just go ahead and bring on those people who won't play our games because they just don't want another launcher, right? The new people, the people that have been playing Blizzard games forever, they're perfectly fine with having this launcher. Like, because it's just, it's just a matter of course at that point. But for everybody else who's like, I'm just on Steam and that's all I want to deal with, then for you to get these people to play your games, you need to move it there. And I do think that Overwatch was the first logical choice for this because it isn't doing all that great. So why not just stick it on there and see if we can get more players, especially since it is a competitive game and competitive games need enough players to put together matches and stuff.
I'm kind of thinking here, though. Like, Troy, do you think this actually grows the Overwatch player base? Like, we're not talking about Tryon Worlds and Rift back in the day when they're like, they do their own launcher and they're a smaller company, they're a smaller MMO, they're kind of sideline, and then you get that big burst of visibility that comes with launching on the Steam platform. Like, if you want to play Overwatch 2, you've already tried it, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you are even remotely interested in Overwatch 2, you have already tried it. Does this actually enhance the player base, or does this just kind of more divide existing player bases to Q's point of, oh, cool, now I can just continue to boot up Steam for Overwatch as well? Like, I used to play Overwatch all the time on the Battle.net launcher. I'm still going to play Overwatch now. It'll just be on Steam.
I think you need to take into account younger players. Like, say, my housemate's kid. He only plays games that he gets on Steam. That's it. He's not going to go download Battle.net to play this game, but he and his buddies who only play games on Steam may, they may actually look at it and go, oh, there's a game we can play together and play it. So if anything, what you'll probably get in is that influx of younger players who happen to be on Steam that don't want to deal with other stuff.
Right.
Who don't have no money to spend.
That too, very much, yes. But it's still putting players in your game, right? Yeah. Which is important, even if they're not spending money. That's why you have whales. Yeah. So you have to hope for some whales.
Money need people to play with, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cairo425 in chat, jumping back to our Overwatch League portion, says Overwatch League is done. The game jumped off a cliff after the devs canned PvE. What do you mean? You're getting a few co-op missions in a couple of weeks as long as you give them $15.
Yeah,
that's PvE. They didn't cancel PvE. We didn't cancel. Yeah, you did. Let's do the weekly bombs. I just never thought I'd live to see the day where I'm like, yeah, Microsoft. Like,
Look, it's just for
do
it's
it.
just for this one thing because we know Microsoft is not our friend.
Yeah, like, I never thought I'd see the day where I'm like, you know what? Maybe Microsoft would treat their employees with more respect at this point. Like God, what kind of world is this anymore? Hey, weekly bomb time. This is where we give a dub bomb for something good, a bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or life in general. Make sure, by the way, you leave yours in the comments below and your question of the week answers, integral parts of the show. I got nothing for this segment if you don't put them there. I'm going to give a dub bomb to the Hell in the Cell match between The Undertaker and Mankind back in 1997. That was in my very own Pittsburgh Civic Arena, a building that isn't here anymore. And why did this come to mind? Because in my, hey, I'm laying in bed and I flip through YouTube and just watch a couple random things to kind of unwind and then go to sleep, I saw The Undertaker and Mankind do a video sitting there watching the match 25 years later and talking about it. And some of their like, my foot was broken, right? Like I don't, when the Undertaker walked in and all the different stuff. And he's like, Undertaker at one point is like, telling Terry Funk, you check on him. Is he alive? like, please tell him don't get up again. Don't get up again. I want this to be done. It was very interesting. And I just remember, obviously iconic wrestling match. And it was neat to watch that video. And it was here in Pittsburgh to Cal. He killed him. That's it. He's dead. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Troy.
I'm going to give a dub bomb to The Witcher 3. I've been playing it again here recently, and it's just as good as I remember it being. I've been enjoying my time with it. Still the best RPG I've ever played. So,
well, there you go. There you go. What do you got, Q?
Two actually. Dub bomb to Good Omens coming out next week. By this time next week, I'll be perfectly happy. And
yeah, Troy, there will be, I told you this before, there will be extra news pieces assigned on the 28th, next Friday, because Q will be out. Don't worry, Genshin / Final Fantasy 14 fans, she will still cover the live letter and the keynote thing. You're fine there, but then she's off for the rest of the day. Leave her alone. So, Troy,
Exactly.
next Friday, extra pieces.
Only two though, because maybe two. I'll cover the keynote and I'll cover the thing on Saturday, the live letter. Anyway, the second is an A-bomb to Universal Studios, who decided that it would be a great idea to go outside and trim trees that belong to the city in 90-degree heat to prevent the strikers from having any shade to march in outside the studios, and probably killed the trees in the process. So now there's a whole bunch of people running around shouting tree law because they're probably going to be in a lot of trouble.
People are smart. Terra Nova says, A-bomb in chat here, by the way, for Diablo 4 patch, nerfing my level 80 sorcerer into a squishy mess. Oh, Blizzard. Yeah, Diablo 4 is getting review bombed yet again over the new patch. Right now, it's looking at a user score of 2.3 on Metacritic because of the latest patch. Way to go. Also in chat, Takao says, A-bomb to Yoshi P. Your love for 14 is obviously no longer there. Just move on and let somebody else take over the game. Don't keep half-assing it. Give it your whole ass or no ass at all. I think that's just a good general rule of life. You always give things your whole ass, Troy. Stojan says, da bomb to Fall Guys. I started playing a few days ago and it's lots of fun and rage at the same time. 100%. It absolutely is. From YouTube and from mmobomb.com, Kitsuruha chimes in saying, A-bomb for a streamer I watched saying, don't they have a different button layout? After me asking chat if they prefer an Xbox or Nintendo face button layout on a controller. Then later they complained about A and B being swapped, not to mention X and Y, like Nintendo didn't do it first. And one to me, too, for realizing I can tell Steam to make all my games use the Nintendo layout instead. Oh, good thing I stopped caring about Overwatch too long ago. Love the universe and characters, and yeah, well, here we are. And I think that's the way a lot of people feel, Troy. It's like, I was looking forward to the PvE, having almost maybe 10 hours in the original Overwatch, playing with my kids occasionally. But I was really interested in the PV because I do like the characters and the lore that could potentially be there. Now there's just no reason for me to check out Overwatch 2.
There's people that I thought were there just for the PvP that are telling me they don't want to play anymore because of the PvE.
No. Go ahead, Troy.
Misfit Rain, A-bomb to Harry Potter new MMO I asked about. You said card-based? Lost me.
Yeah, so to clarify that one a little bit, not card-based in like you're going to play a Yu-Gi-Oh game or something like that. It's really just kind of the way they display spells and abilities. They're a card, and you pick, like, you build the 10 abilities that you like, and then they just get shuffled a little bit. So it's not card in that way. Go ahead, Q.
Kakuma 88, Naraka is great. I bought it 21 September in 2021 and didn't regret it once. Due to being rather different, it takes a bit to get used to, but once you get the hang of it, you're having a blast. Great looking, fluid, nice animations, really worth it. And now that it's free, no reason not to try it.
Yeah. Apparently that free-to-play conversion working very well so far, as predicted. In the last 30 days, the average players has climbed to 57,000. Generally, the game trends around 45-ish to 50-ish. However, there are 82,000 people playing a minute ago, and the 24-hour peak is over 250,000. So how much they retain, that's going to be the key question going forward. Question of the week last week, what did WildStar need to do differently? Like, what's the one thing that if they did it differently back then would mean that that MMO would still be around today? Breckner says WildStar was released too soon. If it released today, it would be a big hit. I've seen this point made in both directions, Troy, that it released too soon and that it released too late. Like, it was a product of a bygone era of MMO players that didn't really exist anymore. But you are seeing this huge resurgence in classic servers for like every game. So is there legitimacy to the argument that, hey, it released in an era that was bad for it, whether too early or too late?
I think it would do well if it was released today. I think we're in a bit of a MMO slump when it comes to AAA games. I think that everybody's waiting for that next new big release. And I think that you've got your hardcore people who are enjoying going back and playing old school type games now. You got the hardcore WoW people. You've got RuneScape, old school RuneScape doing well. You've got people still playing freaking, I can't even think of the game's name now. But anyway, we'll move on. But I think it would do well if it launched today.
You think like full attunement and the hardcore stuff that they put in there would be enough? Because I think I'm not disagreeing with your point, but I think there's a difference in, hey, I want to play a game that reminds me of my WoW hardcore days, and hey, I want to go play WoW in those more hardcore days. And I don't know if there's an apt comparison there between like a WoW classic or something like that and people just clamoring for that style of game, or they wanted WoW classic.
Yeah, I think the attunement and stuff would still probably end up being toned down even nowadays. But I think the market would be more ready because that one launched, I mean, right on top of Elder Scrolls Online. They both launched at the same time. There were multiple MMOs coming out at the time. And I think now would be a good time for a game like WildStar to come along. And even with the attunement changes that would probably needed to be made, I think they would still retain players better than they did the first time around.
Go ahead and take the next answer.
Thoverisk says, man, I remember hitting max level and having a hard time getting into dungeons, even as a healer.
Yep.
Better accessibility and a better difficulty curve would have kept me in. I did try to come back a couple times, but my guild was already long dead and had no one to play with. Pity, such a pretty game.
Q.
Metallica fan 1442. Wish we could still play WildStar. Definitely not a perfect game, but I enjoyed the bits I played. I was a regular in WoW Raiding Guild at the time, 4 days a week, so I never really put much time into it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's also one of those games, too, that you're like, if NCSoft wanted to just on a lark try something, I can't imagine there's a whole ton of cost in turning the game back on for a bit, right? Like, hey, we're going to turn it on for 6 months. We're not doing any development. What's there is there. The balance, like, we're not touching it. We're just going to turn it on. If you want to play it, put a $5 box fee on it or something because there's already a cash shop in the damn thing. So, like, I think, if you think that this is the era for those types of games and maybe it missed its era, maybe if you're NCSoft, you go, hey, let's turn this on for a bit. Let's just see what happens. I don't know. It'd be nice. Caramania says, WildStar never failed. It was shut down. They aimed big. They did not reach the biggest, so they shut it down. Call of Heroes was shut down too, despite it doing okay. And still to date, there's a Call of Heroes running where donations for monthly costs are often met within the hour. It's hard to discount that argument, right, Q? Because it is NCSoft, right? Like, if you didn't achieve the ultimate pinnacles of financial success, then you were a failure and you were being shut down. Like, a little money is not all the money type deal.
Yeah, that is a good point. Like, because it's just one of those things, right? When you have a very large company, they're not really like the devs. The devs are the people, the team's actually working on it. But at the end of the day, the company over it is just like, we're putting this out to make money. If it doesn't make the money we want, then we're getting rid of it. And the whole turning the servers back on, they probably just reallocated those servers to something else. So, like, they've been shifted over there. So there probably is no just turning it back on the same.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not about whether or not it makes money. It's about how much money it makes.
Yep.
Obviously, because it got shut down.
Go ahead, Troy.
Misfit Rain, the one thing that would have kept WildStar open is not shut down. M59, Dark Age of Camelot, Ultima Online stuff, some players keeping the servers up. They could have also, did I say not shut down? I meant not be so greedy.
I mean, that's a very simplistic way to look at it, I guess. The one thing that would have kept them open, not shutting down.
I mean, it's not entirely wrong.
It's not wrong.
But it just might have been open and empty.
Yeah. Go ahead, Q.
Kitsura, WildStar ended for me when I saw Kit Brenny in game instead of video. What the fuck, JK? But actually, what the fuck? There's like I guess WildStar time I got to even play it free before the big poof. It was the cutest MMO in its way. Love that. I think devs need to stop going for real. And we need a lot more stylized content. It's way funnier and better over time for others. Question of the week, forgot. Last week, I have a Cube and a Wii and a Switch and a couple of Xbox and Sega. I have no idea how to fix WildStar minus if they maybe made it more cute and less raid heavy, but I never got that far into it anyway. Trim it to your liking. It's what you get for covering things that I actually have opinions on for a change. Want another stylized game like WildStar, fuck this realism shit. Oh, and at the moment, YouTube is selling me boobs.
Yeah.
That was an info dump.
Yeah. Kitsuru, you're one of my favorites. You know I love you to death.
Bring a thought post.
Lots of new names, by the way, the past couple of weeks, actually the past couple of past month or so. Much appreciated. Chime in, give us your weekly bombs. You're a huge part of the show. Finishing up here, we've got K comma or just comma with some double letters. 88 about WildStar. Yeah, I really love that game. Still the best housing in existence. No lie detected. No lie detected. Question of the week this week. What is the worst MMO or MMORPG you have ever played? Like, actually played. Not somebody said, hey, this is bad. You should check it out. Ha, stream it a day. It's funny. No. You jumped in. You played for a substantive amount of time, and you were like, this is just horrible. But I'm going to play for another hour or two. Like, that's the game I want to know about. Let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget your weekly bombs. Dub bomb for something good. A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just life in general. Until next week, Troy, where can everybody find you?
I am on the socials at Noob Fridge. Please follow. Thank you.
Q.
Oh, that was so polite. On Twitter at Quinlan.
Please follow her too, please. Please.
Please
and
only
thank
if you want. Only if you want a bunch of David Tennant, Michael Sheen thrown in your face.
Don't you
now.
dare tweet spoilers at her. She will murder you. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there, Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb. so that way you'll know every time we're going live on Twitch, putting up new videos, giveaways, interviews, articles, and more. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.